Meanwhile, Jules, Bayern's pursuit of Kieran Trippier goes on while we are on the subject of Newcastle, and it looks as though they are going to keep hammering away and trying to get this deal done.
Yeah, they will push until the end. I think until the end of the month. They had a second offer rejected today for around 15 million euros, which you can say is still a lot of money for a 33-year-old who's hadn't really had a good season so far. But in the situation financially that Newcastle are in, I think to let somebody like Trippier, who's so important for them in terms of leadership and everything he brings to this team on and off the field, they value him certainly as more than 50 million euros, because you can let him go, but the idea is still that they finish top 4 or certainly top 6, and they obviously have more chances to do that with Trippier in their team. So unless Bayern increase their offer quite massively, which I don't think they will, then I don't think he will move there.
Newcastle insisting on him staying, the player keeping his mouth shut, obviously, but Bayern continuing to push, Shaka.
Yeah, listen, I have to admit that the news of the bid kind of surprised me that Bayern were interested in Kieran Trippier, but so be it. They've made some other signings. There's this transfer window that confused me a little bit. But Kieran Trippier is very important to Newcastle. And not just as a player, but as Jules mentioned, as a leader. And I think the way he kind of garners fan support as well. Remember, Kieran Trippier was Eddie Howe's first signing in January 2022 when the team were rooted at the bottom of the table. And so he is seen as so transformational for Newcastle and has been embraced as such. And then totally opposite from the Barcelona conversation, when things aren't going well, here is Kieran Trippier, who's going to the fans and trying to take some of the heat away from some of the other players. A player who has real leadership quality. So is loved throughout by everybody for every single reason. Even despite his poor spell, playing-wise, I don't think that diminishes his importance to Newcastle United. So you understand Newcastle holding out for top dollar.
They're not going to get it, are they?
I don't think they will. But if for some reason they do, be assured that Kieran Trippier will be welcomed back to Newcastle.
I mean, Bayern Munich, as Jules said, are not going to all of a sudden say, oh, you know, let's give you 35, 40 million for a 33-year-old. That's just pie in the sky. And I mean, it'd be sheer stupidity if they did. But, you know, if Eddie Howe was to lose, as Shaq said, such an important member and such a stalwart of a player, notwithstanding the bad sort of 4 or 5 weeks that he has had, but that's been sandwiched in between a really good period. If he was to lose him for 15 million, that's doing nothing. All you're doing is losing the player. That's a drop in the ocean in today's market and finances, 15 million. So I can totally understand. It's a two-way street here, because I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm sure Trippier enjoys playing at Newcastle. It's a great place, great crowd. They're a good side, but Bayern Munich, it's still a draw, isn't it? You know, 33, couple of years left, maybe at the top at most. Potentially the Champions League. All right, he's already played in the Champions League.
Couple of your England
going for
there. Couple of your England
going for a
there.
domestic league anyway, potentially with Leverkusen at such a big club. That's hard to not go into Eddie Howe and sort of bang the door down and say, I want this move, which it doesn't seem that the player is doing at this moment in time.
Because we see Chelsea with that big win today over Middlesbrough, Jules, we wanted to get your take on the latest from Breuer and Gallagher in this transfer window.
Well, that hasn't really changed. I think Ian Madsen left the club on loan with an option to buy from Borussia Dortmund. And we've mentioned many times before, it's a bit like the Newcastle situation in a way, where Chelsea needs some money coming in before going out again and buying a centre-forward, a goalkeeper, whatever they want. They need to sell first. So Madsen, although I don't think they should have let him go, but it was let go for that reason. And you can't obviously rule out that someone like Broja, someone like Gallagher will go for the same reasons. Really, I don't think Pochettino doesn't want them to go, although Broja is slightly different status in that team. I think he's not good enough to lead a Chelsea team that want to go back to the top. I mean, we could, to be fair, say that probably the same for Gallagher, but I think Gallagher is a more key player in the eyes of Pochettino than Broja is. But however, the dynamic is the same for them. They are a product from your academy, so any transfer fee that you get from them is straight profit into your bank account, which is right now, and everything that Chelsea need is that. So I think they will stay. But if there was a player potentially able to come in for Chelsea, then they would have to sell first, and one of the players that would have to be sold would be either Gallagher or Broja.
So Victor Osimhen has also been a little bit vocal recently when it comes to the transfer window. Here's what he had to say. He said, I've already made my decision on the next step to do at the end of the season. I already made up my mind. I already have my plan. I know what I want to do, the next step I want to take. I think 60% of the people mention the rumours about me linked with the Premier League. I want to finish the season with Napoli strong, then come up with the decision I've already made.
Well, hold on, am I missing something here? Didn't he just sign a new contract?
I think so, yeah.
Well, this is what we're coming to Jules on. And I just like the way that he's brought up the Premier League himself there as well.
I mean, good for Osimhen to talk. He's obviously in Ivory Coast at the moment with Nigeria for AFCON. Craig is right. He's just signed a new deal with a huge release clause of 130 million euros. And maybe Osimhen knows already that one club will pay that release clause, whether that's Man United or Chelsea. I think right now, to be honest, unless PSG are without Kylian Mbappe and they can put that money on the table. But if Mbappe stays, the only clubs really that can afford Victor Osimhen right now are the English clubs. And within the Premier League, Man City are not going to spend that on Osimhen. Arsenal don't have that kind of money right now. So you look again at Manchester United or Chelsea, and that's pretty much it. Spurs are not going to spend that. Liverpool certainly not. So if he already knows, it must be one of those two clubs. Unless, again, Mbappe leaves PSG to go to Real Madrid, and then PSG can try to come in for Victor Osimhen. But apart from that, it can only be really two clubs in Europe right now who can go for him.
Anything to say there? No?
No.
I was just wondering, it's funny that you brought up Mbappe, because what if Real Madrid went for Osimhen and left Mbappe in the lurch, Jules?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, before anything happens between Real Madrid and Osimhen, Real Madrid are waiting right now for Kylian's answer. And Kylian has to make that choice, and we've said it a million times on the show. Either he stays a bit longer in Paris or he goes to Real Madrid. This is it. I mean, there's Liverpool, of course, in the race, but right now, the offers that he has are one from PSG for a new deal and one for a transfer to Real Madrid. This is it. So if Real Madrid want to go for Osimhen, Mbappe will have to say no first, and then Real Madrid can decide what they want to do, chasing Haaland, going for Osimhen, going for Vlahovic, going for Rafael Leao, going for whoever they want, really. But first and foremost for them, they are waiting on Mbappe's answer, whether he's joining them or not. And if he joins them, then there will be no Osimhen and certainly no Haaland this summer going to Real Madrid either.
So if Real are waiting on Mbappe, and Osimhen has already made his mind up, let's rule PSG out, or let's rule Real Madrid out. So that's
right.
The only move here that that's what I'm. That's my. That's,
yeah.
It's only.
You've been watching these police shows again, haven't you?
it's only Chelsea I can see kind of making this splash.
But they can't at the moment. Well, they can't have to get a load of players out in the summer.
That's his thing. I mean, at this point, Chelsea and their spending, I don't think anybody could explain. How they're not in trouble already is beyond me. So might as well just get yourself in more trouble and after.
How are Real Madrid not? How's Florentino Perez must go home and Jesus, this guy's annoying me. I've been waiting on his answer for 2 years. We had his answer 18 months ago, whatever it is. We had his answer. His answer was he was coming and he changed his mind. Made me look stupid again, even more stupid than when I was on my pedestal trying to push for the Super League. So, you know, it's... Let's not let Victor Osimhen become the new Kylian Mbappe.
All right.
Where we come on here every day and it's like, where's Victor going today?
We might have caused that a little.
Yeah, you know.
We are speculating
you know that's going to happen
here as well.